There's nothing quite as satisfying as curling up on the sofa with a glass of red wine and chatting to your boyfriend about the best way to bring down a snarling 6-foot-tall bloke armed with a machete. He had this crazed look in his eye, I said, twirling my finger at my temple. I knew deep down that he was seconds away from spinning round towards the restaurant and slicing at as many people as he could. We were a hair's breadth away from total bloody carnage. Jeremy shook his head in dismay.
You're still in training, Emma. I can't believe they put you in such a dangerous situation.
I tried to act casual, as if the incident hadn't left me shaking uncontrollably for an hour afterwards, and took a sip of my wine. It's not like it was planned, and, I added, this is the best way to learn.
By almost getting your head chopped off by a psychotic madman.
He didn't even get close, I dismissed with a surge of invincibility that only comes after you've confronted your own mortality head-on and walked away still breathing. I placed my glass on the table and stood up, tugging at Jeremy's hand to encourage him to do the same. Then I gave him the butter knife, which still had crumbs clinging to its dull blade, and stepped back about 6 paces. He was roaring loudly enough to wake the dead. Jeremy grinned, swishing the butter knife from side to side, before letting out what could only be described as a remarkably feeble attempt at a roar. But, I continued, he was expelling so much energy on the noise he was making, and was so focused on the weapon in his hand, that he didn't realise Williams was coming up behind him. I pulled up my baton and fainted left with it. I reached for a magazine and rolled it up, using it as a prop to act out what had happened. Jeremy responded, lifted up his butter knife to block my attack, and roared again. I beamed and nodded. And while that was happening, Williams got right up behind the perp. I hustled round the table until I was at Jeremy's back, reached round his neck with one arm, while at the same time slamming his free hand into his carotid artery. In slow motion, I pretended to do the same to Jeremy. The blow caused the perp's blood pressure to drop instantly, and he collapsed. Jeremy groaned and fell to his knees, releasing his hold on the knife. It clattered to the floor. I stepped in front of him and dusted off my palms. "Hey, presto," I said, "one incapacitated criminal." He choked and spluttered melodramatically. Hollywood wouldn't be calling any time soon. "This criminal might need a kiss of life to recover," he said. "Well," I said softly, lowering myself to his level, "I'd better get onto that before it's too late." I leaned towards him, my lips meeting his. For a moment he didn't react, then he opened his mouth and his tongue pushed towards mine. With both of us on our knees, it was a clumsy clinch, and it wasn't long before discomfort overcame passion. We broke apart and smiled awkwardly at each other before returning to our previous positions on the sofa. "Anyway," I shrugged, "it was all over within seconds. I was never in any real danger."
"All the same, I'm glad that this rotation is over and you're moving to a new department on Monday. I'll sleep a lot better at night knowing that you're safe. I don't like the idea of my girlfriend putting herself in danger. It's certainly a far cry from accountancy. I could never do something like you did today."